Palace of Mine is one of the greatest examples of neoclassical architecture in the Americas. It is located in the historical downtown of Mexico City, Mexico. The exact location inside Mexico City is in the street called Tacuba. It was created between 1797 and 1813. It was built to house the Royal School of Mine and Mining of the Royal Court. It was requested by the director of the Royal Court, Fausto Eluya. The building has changed occupancy through history. After being the house of Royal School of Mines, the building housed other institutions like the School of Engineering, the National University. Nowadays, it is used as a museum that belongs to the Faculty of Engineering of the UNAM. The history of the palace dates in 1793 when the Royal College acquired the land where it's located nowadays. The palace was one of the first buildings that was designed for teaching engineering. After the military revolts that occurred during the first half of the 19th century and after a partial reconstruction was closed and was even considered for use like the imperial palace of Emperor Maximiliano before he chose the castle of Chapultepec.
The Palace of Mines, in Spanish known as el Palacio De Mineria, is considered a masterpiece for the neoclassical style in Latin America. A building whose design and structure was made by the Valencian sculptor and architect Manuel Tolsa between 1797 and 1813. This masterpiece was made to function as a civil building. It was constructed with the only purpose to house the Royal Seminar of Mines to give academic instructions to miners. This building had many occupancy changes in history. It started as an academic institution for miners, but later on other academic institutions and departments from the National Autonomous University of Mexico took the building as a campus, such as the engineering department and the physics department. It also worked as a military base during the Mexican Revolution. Nowadays, it is a museum that belongs to the engineering faculty of the UNAM. The Palace of Mine is located in the historical downtown center of Mexico City, at the end of Tacuba Street, facing the plaza that carries the name of the creator and architect of this magnificent building. Today it is part of the artistic and cultural patrimony of the National Autonomous University of Mexico, for being one of the most beautiful neoclassical buildings in the whole country.
Most of the volume was intended for the seminary and its services occupied part of the first two floors and the entire third. This guiding element, the Royal Seminary, was given great monumentality. The second most important volume is the commercial area. This area was divided between the two lateral wings. The parts related to the Miners' Guild were positioned in the two corners of the palace. The services were on the ground floor and the rooms on the mezzanine. The central patio is made up of a square on the ground floor. There are only 3 openings, each in one side, and the missing one, unlike the other 3, is all open. There are 2 hallways, each one side, practically lead nowhere.
The main facade is made up of 3 bodies, having a central symmetry and rhythm in the elements indicated by the red lines and hierarchy between the gray ones. The central volume shows a slight offset to the outside, showing prominence. We can appreciate a continuity in the horizontal linear elements such as the friezes and cornices. The windows had a modular replication, being a clear example of the simplicity of a rectangular form. The exposed columns are part of some elements that stands out over the work, such as the central volume and the 2 lateral doors that exemplify greater relevance. The pilasters that frame the lateral divisions of each balcony are double and are attached to the wall. We can see some details that arise from the facade. In the first level, it is essential to emphasize the use of a linear detail that is continuous throughout the walls. We could see a facade based in triangles as the pediment, sections of circle as the entrances and over the window of the third floor, and rectangles that generate a grid in all the facade. The repetition is what makes constant the order in this facade. Examples of it are the balustrades. We can highlight the use of semicircular arch openings which symbolize a void. In the inner courtyard, we can appreciate
the design of this outstanding building is made up of a central exterior and open courtyards, a vaulted ceiling where a central staircase is located, columns, arcs, and many other structural elements that together makes up the building. The construction has 90-meter-high facade and horizontal lines that are only broken by the central pediments. It has 3 floor plans, which in total makes up approximately more than 7,000 square meters. The building is the result of different spaces within a space. The structure is a simple geometric volume with the shape of a cube, where parts of the volume are taken apart to make 5 different open courtyards called patios. The central staircase is located below a hemispheric figure placed over the heavy volume, creating a vaulted ceiling. The building structure is also composed of parallel colonnades that work as a structural element. The building represents a simplification of forms, and it contains a lot of straight lines, with articulation and rhythm. There is a lack of ornamentation, and the columns and lintels replace the high arches seen in the facade. You can see unbroken triangular pediments with cornices and the use of the balustrade. Clearly, the structure of the building shows symmetry and simple geometric forms with a greater rational intention, sobriety, and order. The materials used in the structure of the building are quarry, limestone, ashlar, and tesontle. As years passed by, it was necessary to remodel and restore the monument due to the structural problems caused by the underground in Mexico City. There were some foundation problems since the city is constructed on top of an aquifer. Therefore, a refurbishment of the building was carried out. The sinking of the building became more evident. The structural problems were due to the unstable terrain in which the building was constructed. However, there is a polemic about the structural problem, since many architects say it is because of the underground, while others say Manuel Torza construction has a poor structural design. The purpose of the construction was to portray a building with a heavy and strong personality. It was meant to function around a central courtyard with other spaces evolving around it, connecting each other by hallways. A building reaching neoclassical elements, such as the formal pediment, ionic and Doric columns, round arches, and supportive brackets.
Did you know that this building belongs to the Faculty of Engineering of the UNAM, where it houses the Antonio Alzate Library and the Manuel Torza Museum, which has in its interior about 150 original pieces by the sculptor? Or that there was a time when the Archduke of Austria and Emperor of Mexico, Maximilian I, thought of using this building as his royal mansion, but that process was never completed.